Hey, hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. We're here for a quick bit of mess, aka book community. I'm out of breath, hold on. Book community, where I tell you about some of the mess, the shenanigans going on in the bookish community. And this is not gonna be very long, but I wanted to talk about this one thing. I think this came out in January, but I thought about it since I saw it and I felt like it was great to couple with this new recent thing. Both of these things center around romance books. I know I'm not a romance specific channel. Wow, I'm still out of breath. I know I'm not a romance specific channel, and I realize now that I put in a battery that needed charging, so hopefully I make it through this. I'm not sure if Izzy has covered this because I've been a terrible fellow content creator and haven't been watching many videos of other people. However, I still wanted to talk about it because I am me. So both romance books, and I think we could summarize this both as a problem. One issue is the tropification of romance. Not like tropes is new, and romance is not the only genre that has tropes. Obviously, fantasy has The Chosen One, and found family, and sci-fi has that too, and like all these different things, right? There's tropes. It's a thing. But I've heard people saying, seeing people talk online about how romance has become focused more on the tropes than kind of the story. And my interpretation of that, or what I understand, is it makes me think of what's become popular in marketing a romance book is like the book, and the post has a bunch of arrows and it has different tropes pointing to the book. So it's like, ooh, enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine, age gap. Like, it'll tell you all of these things, and that's fine. But it seems like some of these stories, they are thinking of all the tropes they want to include and then writing the story instead of writing the story and then be like, oh, this includes this trope. Or instead of focusing on one trope, because usually when I think of a romance, I'm focusing on one. Like, is this second chance romance? Is this enemies to lovers? Is this friends to lovers? Not like, here's 6 tropes. Does that make any sense? And again, as not a primary romance reader, correct me if I'm wrong. And this is, again, not to say every romance book is like this, but it has been a more popular thing. So this thing that is recent, and then I'll get into the older thing, is about this book that is, let's see when it comes out. My friend Rachel messaged me about this, and at first I was so confused. And then once I realized what was going on and I looked at the Twitter comments, I was even more confused because I thought it was funny. And apparently that is an unpopular opinion according to Twitter. So let me pull up this book and see when it comes out. Let me go ahead and change this battery. I think all of my battery, I think all of my batteries are dead. I'm really tired of myself. Okay. Hopefully that is straight and we have a battery that's gonna last. Let's try this again. This book is by an indie author called The Darkest Corner of the Heart by Lacina Cooney. Apologies if I pronounced that incorrectly. So it is coming out soon, February 20th. And there was already one before this called The Brightest Light of Sunshine. So again, The Darkest Corner of the Heart. And I guess that this book was described, and I don't know if the author described it as this, but this is a tweet that had an image of the book, and it said, "A forbidden romance between ballerina and physical therapist. Please, I need this book now." And actually now I'm gonna go to the author's Instagram and see if she marketed it like that. So we have forbidden romance. So they did market it like that. Slow burn, ballerina and physical therapist, age gap 21 to 31. Dual POV, grumpy and protective, cat dad, spicy. So this person, again, sharing it on Twitter, very excited about it, saying, I need this book now. Again, forbidden romance is what is written here. And so, I guess there was a person who saw that and was like, forbidden romance, and they wrote a page. Could you call it a fanfic? Maybe. They wrote a fake excerpt of the book and then posted it on Twitter. Now, this is screenshots that I have. The person's post says, this is not real, or this is not for real. And then it has an excerpt, the fake excerpt that has review copy through it, which of course, review copies don't have that on there. Now I'm gonna read it to you. I'm gonna read it to you, okay? I don't think I've done an interpretive reading in a while, so the scene is, let me set the scene. So we have the ballerina who's seeing her physical therapist. Her father walks in, okay? And that's what happens. So I think you've healed my ballet injuries enough for one day, Maddie giggled, smirking. But I do have one teeny weeny little wound that could use a pounding from your Theragun, she teased. As their lips were about to meet, the physical therapy office door slammed open. There stood Maddie's father, looking furious. What the hell is this? Dad, it's not what it looks like, Maddie stammered, her cheeks burning as bright pink as her tutu. James stood protectively in front of Maddie, his posture tense. We were just, I know what you are. Mr. Stevens hissed. He slammed James against the Stairmaster. He slams James against the Stairmaster. Balleragate. James hadn't heard that word in years. He was brought right back to PT Academy, to the hate he had faced simply because of who he couldn't help but love. As his head hit the top step of the Stairmaster, he heard all of the other familiar slurs too. Nutcracker, chaser, plie wad, and even tutu fucker. He collapsed to the ground. I will spare you from me collapsing to the ground because I won't be able to get back up. And you, he turned to his daughter who'd broken into tears. Don't think for one fucking second that we didn't know. That's right, your mother knew. May she rest in peace. All those years of performing arts high school, any normal daughter would have healed from the occasional sprain. Imagine the shame you brought onto your chemotherapy mother when she had to explain to the Rotary Club why her daughter spent her entire senior year in PT. Throwing herself at every new physical therapist. Imagine the tears in your chemo mommy's eyes when we heard you in your bedroom, firing up your Theragun for the 5th time on one of her last nights with us. Leave your daughter alone, James bellowed, tears streaming down his face as he slowly stood up. She's hardly my daughter now, Mr. Simmons laughed derisively. Make me. Oh, I will. James cocked his Theragun. Obviously, that is not a real part of the book. It was made up. And it's so terrible. Not to say that any book that's being published, that's not a possibility of there being in there. But they put, this is not for real, and then included that. And I had a good old hee-haw reading that because what the fuck are those slurs? So then I heard from my friend that people were review bombing the author of the book. And if you don't know what review bombing is, that's when people go and leave a bunch of fake reviews, usually on Goodreads. So usually they'll just put 1-star reviews, even if they have not read the book, if there's like drama with an author or something. So apparently people went and did this. Now, I don't know if Goodreads took those down, which seems highly unlikely because Goodreads has one employee. But when I went to look, the rating currently is a 4.31. It says there's 127 ratings, 67 reviews, and I do see like this top one saying this was closer to a 3-star read because I didn't love this, but it's getting an extra star to counteract all the losers review bombing the book solely from a doctored excerpt. So I don't know. This person said doctored. I assuming the whole thing was made up, because the book hasn't come out yet. So I don't know if that person who posted the Twitter like had an arc or something, or it sounds like they just made all of that up. But I don't know. So review bombing, I'm not seeing that. Maybe it's somewhere else, but on Goodreads, the rating is a 4.31 and it only has 67 reviews, 127 ratings. Granted, it hasn't come out yet. But people were posting on Twitter and saying that this person should be sued. So one person, which I noticed is an author, said making a fake page from a book, not clarifying that it's parody in the original that results in getting review bomb, which could affect the author's sales, sounds like a possible lawsuit to me. Now, again, the only post I see from this person says this is not for real, unless they posted it before and just like posted an excerpt of the book. I didn't see that. I'm only saying that this is not for real one. I don't agree. I never agree with review bombing, even when something like controversial comes out about the author. I just don't think it's helpful. And, but people do it anyway. But I'm like, a lawsuit? There was like another author said, oh my God, I commented on this when it was under 100,000, 1K likes, inquiring about the dad element because it seems sus, and now it says 76,000. What an absolute nightmare of a situation. I would box. Honestly, if I was them, I would fucking box. I hope they figure out a way to sue. Thinking about how they must be feeling makes me start to tear up. That is so unnecessarily cruel. I can't imagine what the author must be going through right now. I hope they are getting ready to throw hands. I hope so too. OP needs to get sued to hell and back. Now, while... Again, I don't agree with the review bombing, and I hope this does not negatively impact the author's sales. I think people are being, I think that's an extreme. Which is not surprising for the bookish internet because everything's a fucking extreme, but like, I just think that's excessive. That's just excessive. Now, going back to the book itself, I think, and this is going back to what I was saying originally about the whole like tropes, is the forbidden romance. What's forbidden? Because she's 21 and he's 31? Maybe that's... I don't know. What do you think about... I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. What do you think about all of the tropes? I'll put it here again. And then what do you think about what happened on Twitter? Like I said, obviously, I don't think anyone should get review bombed. I don't want the author to be negatively affected by this. But I think if... And again, I don't know if that original poster had posted before and claiming it was an actual excerpt from the book, or if they had only posted this is not real. Because if they only posted that this is not real, then I don't see the harm in that. I still don't agree with people review bombing. Again, I'll repeat it 19 times because I know somebody will pretend like they didn't hear me say that. But to sue to hell and back, if anything, and not like I think this is a good way for promotion for a book. I think it's brought more attention to the book, and hopefully people want to give it a chance because they're curious about the story and actually rate it accordingly to after they read it. But I'm like, sue to hell and back. Come on. Come on. I think it's a bit much, but that's just me. What do you think? Maybe you think that they should. It doesn't matter. Okay. I don't know if the author is going to do that. I don't know if they have any legal standing. I'm not a lawyer, but I was just like, come on, that's a bit much. But something that's similar yet different is another romance book. And this one I saw again in January. So this is by Tessa Bailey. Now, there's a lot of feelings around Tessa Bailey. I feel like in the bookish community, I've read 2 of her books and I really loved them. But it happened last summer, and the one after that, Hook, Line, and Sinker, I think. I've heard a lot more negative things about her other books. I feel like those are 2 of the most popular, and I haven't read any others since then. I know a lot of people don't like how she writes like smut. They feel like it's cringy, or just don't like her stories in general. Valid. So this new book, again, with the same thing, and I'll insert here, and it's called Fangirl Down. Okay. And anyway, it's a sports romance with a golfer. Cool. Not my thing, but cool. I'm sure there's people out there who want that. But as you can see here, our tropes have the peach emoji, which I'm assuming is for a booty, unless they just really like to eat peaches together. Bad boy golfer. Not certain I've ever seen those words together. No. Forced proximity. Okay. I'm saving this one for last. She's his #1 fan. Grumpy sunshine. Okay. Touch her and die. So this is a contemporary, being set in present day, regular world romance. I don't think I've ever heard of that being used in a romance that's not like a fantasy romance, a paranormal romance. So bad boy golfer, touch her and die. And as I'm staring at you, giving you this questioning look, The internet had the same feelings. The person who posted this said, this is a great example of authors building a book around tropes instead of a plot. Because you telling me a golfer has touch her and die energy? Please. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to think, not like I follow golf at all. I'm trying to think if I've ever, like, who would come to mind? No one. Yeah, no one. Not bad boy golfer or touch her and die. Like, someone said, what business does a golfer have saying that? None. Zero. He wouldn't. It's not real. It's not happening. Just bad boy golfer. Again, people are like, what is that? What's next? A bad boy pickleball player? Are there any women who can really who are into golf who can confirm male golfers have a cult of personality about them? I highly doubt this. Like, but do you see with like the trope in writing the book thing, instead of this is the plot of my book and then I'm gonna look at the tropes? Like, does that make sense? Because that is, what is that? What do you mean? Someone posted, I hope people know there's more. And I don't know what this is, but I'll put it here. But it says, will love blossom on the 18th hole? I just don't like how that sounds. Like, I get it, but I don't like it. So they have sports romance, spicy affair, colleagues to lovers, sunny grumpy, commitment phobia, bad boy athlete. Again, bad boy athlete, he's still a golfer. Why do you have so many? That didn't help. Like, that didn't help. I just... Someone said, I'm sorry, but when I think of a bad boy golfer, I think of preppy rich Chad with sexual assault allegations. Oh my God. Golfer fangirl? Not to say, I'm sure. Because, you know, there's somebody for everybody. There's a thing for every, you know, I'm sure there are girls out there, women, femmes, people, men, they, thems, who have a crush on a golfer. I'm sure. And again, I don't desire golf romance. I don't know if I've read any sport. I've read one sport. I don't know. But I'm sure there are people who like golf and are like, hey, I want this. Just like some people I know want swimmer romances, and people really love hockey romance, obviously, right? Whatever. I just don't get the bad boy touch her and die. Someone said, I guess he's gonna club you to death. And of course people are like, well, these are just the tags. But yes, but these are all supposed to be elements of the story. And I just, you know, whatever. That's just my opinion. I think it's silly, and I wish you could market your book without, I don't know how to explain it without saying don't market your book with tropes, because that's not what I mean, but I also don't know how to mean what I say, or say what I mean. What do you think? I need your opinion on this. I need your input. Keep it cute, respectful. It says it comes out in February. I don't know if it's already out. If you've read it, let us know. Or do you have similar thoughts to me? Anyway, I just wish you would come up with a romance story. And obviously there's going to be tropes, because like I said, there's tropes in every genre, but you would say what the story is about. Like, I don't need all these little things. Just, can you tell me what the story is about? Give me a short blurb about, like, a short paragraph of what the story is about. And I can discern from that, if you give me a succinct summary, what the main trope is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Y'all may disagree with me, but again, I was not trying to hold y'all long or record long. I just needed to get those two things out there into the universe and to see what y'all think. So again, thank you so much for watching. Keep it cute and respectful in the comments, or you will get blocked. Yes, and also, are we putting on our sunscreen? I hope so. But anyway, free Palestine. Yeah, we're past 100 days into this genocide, and there is just doesn't seem like an end in sight. So I will continue to share about it on my social medias and hope and call my what are those people called? Representatives, even though they do not represent me whatsoever because they never listen to anything I'm saying, or that we're saying. Yeah, I'm trying to learn more and spread more about Sudan and Congo, and there's just so many things going on, and obviously we can't know all of them, but we can do our best. And something for Palestine that I have shared on my Instagram, because so much of the aid is not getting in, don't get me started, but a way that I've found financially to help, if you are so inclined, is to buy eSIMs. So I can share it again, but I follow someone who basically is like coordinating it, where you can basically go on this website or app and buy different data packages for an eSIM for them, and you just email them I think it's like the QR code or whatever. You email them the thing that you get emailed, and then they send them to people. And like, I've gotten updates showing like the SIM is being used, and you can re-up them if you want to, like add more data to them. So that's felt good, because I've been like wanting to do something besides just post, and it's obviously really hard. But that's just something small. So if that's something you want to do, I will find a link directly to the Instagram post, and I can put it at the top of my description below, if that's something you want to do. And then there also is an Instagram account for someone who is organizing in Congo, but for some reason it's like a fundraiser, but it does not let me donate. And I've seen other people comment the same thing, and I don't know what it is. I put on a VPN and try to change where I am, and it doesn't let me donate, but I could still link it below. Maybe you can. But they're trying to, you know, build like more solid shelters for displaced people from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So unfortunately, I don't know if anything currently for Sudan, because there's just been like a media, like a communications blackout for a while. But if you know anything, to share down below, or, you know, for the many ongoing genocides and crises worldwide, obviously share them. We got to do every little bit we can, because the people who can do these things, who have the power, who have the money, don't. So it's just us little people. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your support. Give this a like. Check out all of my links down in the description for information. Like I just mentioned, other information to learn, ways to support my channel if you so inclined, other places that I am on the internet. I think that's it. Stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreen. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.